Right now, one of the largest flotilla of tall ships ever gathered in recent history is making its way to the New York harbor to celebrate America's 250th birthday, I should say. It promises to be a spectacle not just by sea, but also by land and by air. Nearly 200 military aircraft will fly overhead as the ships sail along their parade, with festivals and events taking place all across the city. Joining me now for more on this stunning display of tall ships is Chris O'Brien, president of Sailforth 250. Chris, so good to see you. Tell us, what should we expect to see?
Hi, Danny. Great to be here. You're going to see something like you've never seen before in your life. You know, these ships are coming from around the world to be here on July 4th, America's 250th. So we're going to have the international tall ships, which are the goodwill ambassadors for their countries. We're going to have the gray hull ships from around the world, making up a fleet of 80 vessels. And as you said, leading into this, the Blue Angels will be leading an international aerial review, something we have not done for one of these events. And so it's really going to be it's going to be an incredible moment for the people who are watching it, but also for the city and for the nation.
Now, I also understand that we can track these ships live on your website. So tell us about some of the ships that and you can see right there, we're putting it on screen kind of where these ships are and have been. Can you tell us some of the ships that we'll get to see? What ships are exciting you the most?
Yeah, well, there are, so many ships from around the world, and some of them have been underway for literally months to get here. And you can track them on our tall ship tracker on our website, sailforth.org. And it's been so fun. Actually, my daughter got to sail on one of the ships, at the German tall ship called Gorch Fock, and she sailed across the Atlantic on that ship. And that ship is one of 4 sister ships that will be actually racing from New York to Boston after our event here after July 4th weekend. But we have the Amerigo Vespucci from Italy. We have the Sudarshini from India. Of course, we have America's tall ship, the Coast Guard bark Eagle, which will lead the parade. And every one of these ships has its own story to tell, but they're beautiful and they're awe-inspiring. And the sight of these ships really brings you to another place. It's almost like seeing a dinosaur. You feel this excitement when you see them, but there's the connection to our maritime history there.
Well, and by the way, to your point, I do recommend all viewers to go to the website and read up on these ships, because you're absolutely right. Each one of them has their own, in many times, storied history with so many adventures and different things. But I wanted to ask you this question. Explain to us, why celebrate in this way with tall ships? Why is that important for this 250 celebration?
Well, America's a maritime nation, and right here in New York, the Port of New York and New Jersey, really the center of maritime commerce, really from the founding of this nation. And so that's a big part of why the maritime celebration, but also, these ships, they're official naval vessels from their countries. And so they train their cadets on these ships, making new leaders. But the ships have a dual mission, which is an international goodwill mission. So they're goodwill ambassadors. They're diplomatic ambassadors of their countries. So when they come to your port, it's a very special thing. It's an official representation. So gathering so many in this way to come together to mark the milestone of America's 250th, there couldn't be anything more appropriate.
It strikes me there's so much coordination that has to take place to bring something like this all together. Can you just lay out some of the logistical hurdles your team has had to work through to make this possible?
Yeah, boy, I don't know where do I start. We've been at this for 6 years, and
Wow.
it's the partnership with all the organizations you can imagine that come together. Of course, the Coast Guard, U.S. Navy for the International Naval Review, New York City, NYPD, FDNY, FBI. You can just imagine all of the agencies and organizations that need to come together, not only for the logistical planning, but also for the public safety and security and, everything that needs to come to make it a successful, safe, and fun, memorable event. But you can't imagine. So we've literally had to build an 800-foot temporary dock here in New York. Logistical hurdles like that we've gotten over with this great partnership from all of our friends here.
This is the Coast Guard Bark Eagle. Take a look at it in all its glory. This ship has been in service with the Coast Guard for 80 years now, and it has a few different roles, a training role and a soft diplomacy role to spread America's history, but also to allow people to come aboard and see what it's like to live here. All of these lines that you see connected to these different masts, there are 6 miles worth of lines on board here, 23 sails. We can show you the bow of the ship as well, where you can really see those sails flying high. The wind has picked up. We are cruising along through the North Atlantic right now. We had the opportunity to climb some of this rigging with these cadets and with some of the permanent crew who's on board. We went up to the second highest point on the main mast, 120 feet in the air. Let me tell you, John, I was terrified. We helped furl some of those sails, roll them back up. We were there trying to secure things. It's a lot of work on board this ship, but this is what they're doing from dawn until dusk. 150 cadets, 60 permanent crew members. We spoke with Captain Chris Ensley, and he says this ship is vital to the Coast Guard in order to train. Take a listen.
Almost every single person who becomes an officer in the Coast Guard coming through the academy and officer candidate school comes and spends time here learning how to become a leader, learning how to build technical nautical skills they'll need in the maritime environment, seamanship, damage control, engineering, navigation, things like that. And we get them salty. We teach them what life at sea is.
Captain Ensley is trying to get us salty as well so we can get our sea legs rather. My producer Joel and I, we're a little unsteady, but we've seen this crew. They're conducting drills, learning how to put out a fire in the engine room, preparing for any kind of scenario that these crew members and cadets could face for a life at sea, John.
Lee Waldman, you win, man. I mean, you're going to have a long, terrific career. I'm not sure you'll ever have a live shot as cool as this one. It looks just amazing. I have no idea when you're going to see land next. But give me what happens for this vessel after it sees New York Harbor the 4th. Does it just go back out to sea again, and will you be on it?
We will not be on it, unfortunately. We're getting off to head home once the ship lays their anchor in Sandy Hook before that massive maritime parade with dozens of tall ships from all across the country. This one leading that charge. But once they're ready to leave New York City, they are racing to Boston. And John, I mean a literal race. This is one of 5 sister ships. One has been turned into a museum, but the other 4 are with different countries. So it's incredible to see how they're going to line up, how these captains are coordinating with each other, and they're racing for an actual Tiffany's trophy. So whoever gets to Boston first, they get to take home that prize. And Captain Ensley, he's determined to bring it home, John.